Are you struggling to make money? Do you have a problem with your money mindset? Do you want to be more abundant, or you want to make more money and you have no idea how to do this? Well, I have the perfect book for you. So I just read this book, Make Money Easy by Lewis Howes, who has the School of Greatness podcast, and he has interviewed hundreds and thousands of people and the richest people on the planet, and he's learned from them the key things that have helped to unblock any money blocks that you might have. So I wanted to distill some of the lessons and share them with you. I'm going to be a millionaire in a few years, and I want to share some of these tips. Let's get into it. Okay, so one of the first exercises that Lewis asks the reader to complete is, what does rich mean to you? What would a rich life mean to you? So this is super important. I talk about this all the time, but you have to identify what you want or what that feeling would be so that you could go there, right? Like some people, and I've heard like, I'm going to be a millionaire because I talk about it on my channel. I talk about how we're going to be millionaires and multimillionaires and all that stuff. They're like, I'm going to be a millionaire too. That's great. But do you know how much you need? Do you need 10 million? Do you need 50 million? Do you want 100 million? Do you even know how much it costs to live where you want to live, or what do you want to buy? What do you want to do with the money? Who do you want to serve? And so you need to determine that for yourself. What is a rich life for you? Okay, so really quick, I challenge you to take a moment to reflect and to ask yourself, I feel rich when blank. When do you feel the most rich? When do you feel rich? Is it when you're with your kids? Is it when you have really, really great health? Is it when you have freedom and time? Is it when you're serving others? Is it when you have peace? When do you feel the most rich? And I challenge you to put that here. It can be multiple things. It doesn't have to be just this one thing, but figure out, when do you feel rich? When? There's a few reasons as to why you should do this. And one of the main reasons is to know where you want to go. Oprah famously said, those who become successful or achieve their goals know where they want to go. But you want to know this because if you are trying to get wealthy, right? But you really feel rich when you're feeling healthy or when you're with your family, but then you go get rich and wealthy and you stop spending time with your family, or when your health deteriorates and you put it on the back burner, then you're going to have money and you're not going to feel rich, right? And so maybe it's a combination of those things. Oftentimes it's a combination of things, but don't lose what you already have in pursuit of what you want or what you think you want. Because maybe you think you need $1 million. Maybe you just need an extra $5,000 a month, right? So really get clear on what you want and how much and what you need. Now that we know what being rich or feeling rich means to us and kind of getting a little more clear on that, we can look at our money styles. So have you ever heard of someone saying, hey, you're a saver or you're a spender, right? Well, that's just labels. Lewis argues that there's more to it than that. He shares in the book that there are 4 key money styles when it comes to how you handle, think about, and deal with money. Let's take a closer look at these 4 things and figure out which one you are. All right, so the first one is the director. Okay, this style focuses on driving forward and crashing through barriers and getting things done. They often like to try new things and challenge the status quo. They're all about growth and expansion, making things bigger and better. Directors not only think outside of the box, they figure out how to blow up the box. Their drive to achieve is strong, so financial goals are often naturally front and center. So they often have big financial goals that are front and center. Some of the benefits of a director is that they're often a self-starter. They often focus on the results. They think about facts over feelings. They're not intimidated by challenges. They're willing to make the tough decisions that are required, cool under pressure, and have a strong bias for action. So they might say things like, what are we waiting for? Show me the money. Show me the facts. We can do this. This isn't working. We need to pivot. No need to panic. I've got this. Let's get busy. So the director is very entrepreneurial. You might find them as a CEO. They're very like cut and dry and ready to go, ready to be in charge. Like the CEO, the leader, the director, they do look at the numbers and they say, hey, is this going to be a good price? Like, show me the numbers. Let's look into this. And they're very action oriented and very logical about it. Hey, this is in the budget. Hey, we can make this happen, etc. I think some of the key aspects of this type is that they have a strong bias for action. They're ready to take action. They're not intimidated by challenges, and they really look at the facts over the feelings. So just what are the facts? Like, let's just look at it, let's face it, and then let's figure out a solution and a plan and go figure out if we can make a reservation or go do it. All right, let's look at the Energizer. So this style is super enthusiastic about almost everything. They love engaging with people. Other people see them as the life of the party, but they generally don't like the rigid feeling they get from detailed planning. They'd much rather make it up as they go and trust the universe and that it will have their back when it comes to their financial needs. Oftentimes, Energizers will have these characteristics. They'll bring the energy, they'll have an optimistic outlook. They love looking at options and opportunities. They have great financial instincts, which I think is important to note. They thrive on being spontaneous and they're comfortable with the big ideas. So they might say things like, I'm excited about the possibilities. When one door closes, another one opens. There are a lot of things we could do. My gut tells me that we should do this. They really listen to their intuition and instincts. No plan, no problem. We'll figure it out. Let's dream a little. Shall we? The Energizer, you guessed it, has a lot of energy. And so this doesn't necessarily mean that you're just this positive person or that all positive people have this type of money style, because you could have a more blocked money style. But they bring the energy. They're more willing to be spontaneous and go with the flow and try new things. And they just have this positive outlook of life, and they're not really held back by money. They see opportunities. They see if friends invite them out or for an experience or a trip, they say, why not? Like, this is our one life to live. Let's go live it. Let's figure it out. They're typically really good with money, even though they're optimistic about it as well. They also are really a type of person who listens to their gut and their intuition. And so they'll listen to other people's perspectives and ideas. But if they feel in their gut or in their soul that they're not supposed to do something, they'll listen to that. So they're very open to opportunities and ideas, but they're also very in tune with their own emotions and their own intuition. Ultimately, you're always looking for how it could be a great opportunity, how putting your money in this situation or going to this thing or doing this activity or connecting with this person could be a benefit. You're looking for the pros, the benefits, the bright side of things. All right, so this one is the shepherd. This style is all about getting along and helping everyone else get along. They thrive on creating warm, welcoming, and accepting environments. They tend to make financial decisions by asking, how will this decision help or harm other people? Will everyone be okay if I make this move? Shepherds are typically good at following the plan. They move slowly into new things. They're willing to be more mindful and take their time, keep their focus on one thing. They see the practical impact. They ease financial tension. They really are great with helping other people. Favor feelings over facts. So they're not necessarily all in their head. They really go with their feelings. And then they're patient and they're willing to wait. So they might say things like, just stick with what we planned. Let's not rush into this. Don't get distracted. How will this affect that? How will this affect them? No need to get upset. Let's work together. Does this feel right for everyone? And they think long term. So the shepherd is all about helping other people. They often consider for themselves, but also others, how will this help or hurt? Will this be a beneficial decision or will it block other people or hurt other people? These people are super patient. They're willing to wait. They don't want to hurt other people's feelings. They also favor the facts over the feelings, but they're good at following the plan and going into it and really seeing all the sides of things. Like, how will this choice impact my family? How will this choice impact other people? How will this choice impact me, etc.? And we have the analyzer. This style loves order and method, and they tend to think of themselves as more introverted. Analyzers like to analyze the financial decisions every which way before actually choosing. So they're really big at analyzing first. They like to dive in and discover all the facts before making a money move. Analyzers tend to think, if I could just understand all the details and create an incredible financial plan, all my money struggles will be over. So if they just understand, everything will be great. So they often say here, they're good at getting tasks done, realistic and practical, push through challenges, they're candid, they always have a plan and a schedule, they get the details right, and they set up helpful systems. They often say, what's next on the list? How is this going to work? I don't know what quit means. I don't think that will work because right place, right time, right results. Is that accurate or is it just a ballpark? Why think about it? Let's automate it. The analyzer is really good at analyzing, so they really use their brains and think a ton about the research. They see, what does this say? What are the facts? Let's look into it first. And so if they're going to make a decision, they're open to it, but they want to analyze and do some research and thinking before they make a decision. So for example, you might get an opportunity and to go somewhere, but you're going to ask about the cost. You're going to look at what are the costs if you use this method, what's the cost if you go this way or use this route. You really analyze all the details to save money, to make money, and you really are interested in getting to know all the facts. With everything, there's a light and a dark. And so if you think of your money style as being the hero, there's also the villain, which is the shadow side. And Lewis talks about the shadow side of your style that's important to be aware of and where you could fall into the trap or maybe a more negative and not a good space. So I want to take a look at that. So for the shadow sides, the director can be a dictator. Okay. And so they don't value input. They avoid helpful routines and details. They struggle to think of others. It's only about themselves. They overcommit themselves and others. They sacrifice healthy practices and they don't always want to wait. So they might say, no one asked what you think. I can't be bothered to check that. It works for me, so it should just be good. Yes, we can do it by then. I'm too busy to work out today. I should have had a return by now. Is that the best you can do? So the weaknesses of the Energizer is they're an eccentric. And so they might feel the need to get approval from others. They might be overly optimistic and might think too much on the bright side. They lack focus and organization. They're super spontaneous. They get emotional under stress. They might say things like, yes, but do you like it? I'm sure it'll work out somehow. When was I supposed to file that? They are disorganized. Money stuff always makes me so upset. Oops, can I borrow money to cover that? I figured we could just make it work. Well, I thought I had it all figured out. For the shepherd, they might become like a doormat. So they might hesitate to express their own desires. They appear passive aggressive. They lack a big picture vision. They dislike confrontation about money. They trust people too easily. They don't like making changes and they tend not to take action. And so they might say things like, as long as it works for everybody else, fine, I guess so, if that's what you want. As long as I'm helping someone today, oh, I'd rather not have that conversation. I can't believe they would do that to me. It's always worked just fine the way it is. I'm sure something will come up. And the analyzer can become the perfectionist. So they tend to think of the worst case scenario. They appear secluded or secretive at times. They can come across as inflexible, depend on the rules too much, lack confidence despite being prepared, focuses on getting it perfect, or get lost in the weeds. So they might say things like, this probably won't work. Why do I need to share that info? Why should I have to change my plan? Just tell me the right way to do it. I don't know. Am I ready for that? I won't invest until blank. And let me check that for the 10th time. So what is your money style and how does it help you? But also look at how it could potentially hurt you. So I want you to take a couple seconds to think of the benefits of your money style and also the negatives. And then you can figure out how to take that moving forward. Do you need to adjust anything? Do you need to be mindful? Do you maybe need to work on some of that and get rid of some of the habits and the mindset and the things that could be holding you back? Or are you in a good place and ready to take action and ready to go make more money? So understanding your money story and your money style and also the shadow side of those can be really helpful just to see where you are, how you think of things, and to be aware of your weaknesses, right? I talk about this a lot, that you want to be aware. The only way you can change things or make things better is to be aware. And so what style are you? What are the pros of it? How can you leverage those and use those? And then how can you understand your weaknesses and kind of be mindful and notice those patterns in your daily life and then start to rewire and rechange it? I know for me, I believe I am an analyzer, and so I can look at the shadow side of being a perfectionist and really get to know that and kind of see, when am I being a perfectionist here? When should I just make a decision, etc. A lot of the value in this book is about your relationship with money and how you approach it and how you've seen it. And so if you want another book on this, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel is great. It talks about the psychology of money, and my background is in psychology, education, human development, sociology. So I studied a lot of that stuff and how we think and why we think what we think. It affects everything. It's crazy. And so let's go ahead and look a little bit into maybe our money trauma, some of the things that are still blocking us, and then what to do about it, right? We need to understand where we are, what made us where we are, and maybe some of our blocks and our strengths, but then what can we do to get to the next level? Because I know most of you here want financial freedom, want to live abundantly, want to feel good about money. You don't want to be blocked anymore. You don't want to be restricted, and you want to go make a lot of money. Okay, so first, how was money talked about in your home? Were you told that money doesn't grow on trees? Were you also going to a school that they talked about, like if you're rich or poor, or started comparing? All of these things can start playing a role in how you think about money, right? Like money doesn't grow on trees. Well, maybe not for your parents, or they struggled with money, and so that's why they said that. But then if you were around a rich mentor and they see that there's money all around, there's trillions of dollars in this world, and you can go grab it, you're going to start thinking differently. Or even Lewis talks about in Hollywood, a lot of times rich and wealthy people on TV or in movies, they're shown to be rude and snobby and stuck up and arrogant and kind of negative characteristics and personality traits, right? And so if you're a good person, why would you want to get money? You think rich people are just these stuck up people, right? And that's not true. That's not the case. So if you see a bunch of rich people that are rude, why would you want to be rich? I just thought, oh, they're just they're separate from me, right? My dad is a produce manager. My mom's a flight attendant. And so, it's not like there were millions of dollars all around. We had everything we needed. My parents gave me the world and more. They're incredible, incredible people. But I just didn't identify with that like super rich, even though we had a beautiful home, beautiful opportunities. I got to do so many things, right? And so what I realized is that rich people, all that they have is more money than me, right? Or if you're not at that level yet, they just have a lot of money, right? And so money makes you more of who you already are. Sarah Blakely, the billionaire founder of Spanx, says this as well, that money makes you more of who you already are. So if you're a good person, if you want to help more people, guess what? It would be awesome and beneficial and even better if you had more money. Because guess what? You're going to do more good with it. Or a really generous person, if you make $50,000 a year and you're always looking out for people and giving people nice presents or helping pay for things or taking care of people, whatever you do, you're just really generous.
What do you think is going to happen if you have $150,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1,000,000 a year? Are you going to be more generous? Are you going to be able to give even more? Heck yeah. And so instead of blocking yourself or limiting yourself by thinking that rich people are snobby or these horrible people, you got to let go of the money stories and even those little stories of lack. Just because you didn't grow up with a lot of money doesn't mean that money doesn't grow on trees and you have to think the same way that your parents did. You can love your parents, you can love your family, but know that you might need to go listen to other people to be your money mentors and help you think differently about money. Your parents can teach you about love, they can teach you about all sorts of other things, but maybe you might not be able to go to them for that, and that's okay. That's okay.
All right, so I'm going to talk about a few more things that could be blocks. I think Lewis's book is really good for some of the blocks, and then I'll get into a few of the really good tips for creating and attracting more wealth. But you really got to work on this, right? Even in life, you got to work on yourself and those traumas or those things that are bringing you down so that you can rise back up. So, are you worthy? I think that's a big one. A lot of people don't feel worthy of money. So you want to work on that. How do you feel worthy? You are good enough just as you are. And no, are you a good person? Are you a good person? If you are more than worthy of money, and you're going to go do good things. You're going to take care of your family. You're going to go help others, right? The more money you have, the more you can do to take care of yourself, but then you can also take care of other people. And so you are worthy. You are worthy. It doesn't matter who you are. If you want a book on this, you can look at Jamie Kern Lima's book for Worthy. You also want to make money your friend, okay? So you might have traumas around it, but you want to just embrace it. Hey, money's my friend. We're a team. We're teammates. We're going to work together. When you think of money as you plus money is a team that works together, it's going to multiply. It's going to multiply when you think about it this way. So you really have to embrace and say, hey, it's a friend. I don't need to be scared. No scarcity. I don't need to be scared. I don't need to be fearful. I don't need to be worried. I need to treat it like a friend. Treat it well. Treat it with respect. Treat it with love. Treat it with gratitude, okay? You really want to treat it well, and money is going to treat you well. Money is an energy. It's a tool, and we want to attract that into our lives. We want to attract that good money, that good energy. We attract what we are. So if we think of money as our friend, we respect it, we're grateful for it, we're going to attract more. And let go of the trauma. Even though it's there, we're going to get rid of it and start building a huge mountain of happiness and success instead. The last things you can do is identify your money triggers. Okay, so what are these money triggers for you? What are they doing? How do they get in the way? So, like if your parents say something or do something, can you work on that? You can also write it down. So write it down, journal. It's a great way to get it out and to see what you're feeling and to kind of move through those feelings. Number 3, you could talk to a safe person. So you can figure out, who can I talk to kind of work through this? Do you need to go to a therapist? Do you need to talk to a friend? Just let it out. Or if a certain situation happens, get it out so you can move on. Bottling things up never helps. And forgive yourself and others. Forgiveness is a huge tool in your life. And so if your parents were acting a certain way about money, or if you have been acting, forgive and move on. You want to get out of this place, not out of forgiveness, but forgiveness helps you get out of whatever hole you were in. And then practice overcoming triggers. So if you get triggered, You don't always just want to avoid it. I know that can be tempting to do in your life, or if you get anxious about something, you just want to avoid it. But instead, you want to work on overcoming it. And you want to go, if maybe your significant other would say something in the past, then instead you want to face it head on and come up with a new story and change the script the next time. Create boundaries. So you might need to have some courageous conversations. You might need to create new boundaries with people. Maybe if you've given money to people in the past and they've hurt you, you need to not do that anymore. Or who's influencing you? Who's around you? Maybe you need to create boundaries of the people that are around you that aren't helping you and that are holding you back, and find new people to be around, new ideas, rich people, abundant people, people who are going to help you, like Lewis, like myself, people who are going to encourage you in this area instead of hold you back. And then motivate yourself to grow. So once you kind of realize where you are, what you're doing, you can kind of figure out, where do I want to get to? So this is where we started. Where do we want to go? Right? Do I want to get to here? Okay, how am I going to get there? You have to figure out, where do you want to go? So you can kind of figure out where to go, motivate yourself, and decide, you know what? I'm making $50K a year. I want to make $100K. Why? And kind of figure out a reason, a why, a purpose, a plan, and then you can get there if you decide. I really like this exercise, and it showed how you can heal your relationship is to have some healing actions like being generous and positive thoughts. So this is a really good place to be. You want to have generosity. You want to have positive thoughts like, I'm abundant, I'm going to give, I'm going to serve, I'm going to provide value. And then here we have negative thoughts like, there's never enough, money doesn't grow on trees, I need to hoard. And so it kind of creates these harmful actions instead of helpful actions. And so you want to replace everything. You want to replace it with the good things, with generosity, with service, with value, with anything that's going to help you, because that is what you need. You are abundant, you are capable, and you can create whatever you want in your life. There's two concepts I really want to talk about that will help you to make more money and attract more money, is the generosity opportunity loop and planting generosity seeds. And then we're also going to talk about the more you serve, the greater your value, and how to create more value and being of service, the service to value lever. These are two key things I think Lewis does really well, and that has helped him build his wealth and other people that he's interviewed.
All right, so Lewis says in the book that generous people are grateful people. Grateful people are happier people, and happier people attract more opportunities. So if you want more, you need to be happier. You need to be more grateful. You need to appreciate what you already have in your life, and then you can attract more. The key part of this loop and this wheel, though, is that you are also generous. When you feel happy, when you feel content, when you feel good and grateful, and you have this heart to serve, you're able to give up some of what you have to give more to others. And I know for someone who's been working on her own financial journey and financial situation, sometimes it can be a little bit hoardy or a little bit more in lack and not as generous and open and serving. And I've been working on that this year. I've really gotten more into that and serving my family and serving other people and really starting to share that. It can be with your money and giving away money freely. It could be with also your time. It could be with the knowledge and skills that you have and giving it freely and generously and trying to provide value. But it really starts with an attitude of gratitude. All of this, it's a lot of the mindset and the blocks. It starts with how we think. And how we think affects everything. It affects so much, as you guys know, when I talk about on this channel. So how are you thinking about money? Are you going to attract it? Are you going to be more grateful for it? Are you going to welcome it and appreciate the blessings you have? And every time you get a penny, you will just thank you for this penny. Thank you. Be grateful. It helps you in every aspect of your life. And it prevents when you do start attracting more. Like I've been getting so many more blessings in my life and so many more beautiful things. I think about where I was and how grateful I am to be where I am now. And I always have to remind myself and be in the present and really, really feel all of the blessings that I have all around. Like there's things that you're praying for or that you've prayed for that you have now. Like there are hundreds of things I prayed for that I currently have. Even though I'm working on more, I need to be abundant and grateful for where I am now. I'm not going to get more. You're not going to get more if you don't appreciate what you have now. And then if you're not generous with your knowledge, your time, your skills, and your money. That is a key part. It's a loop that keeps going, and you can't not do one part of the loop. You can be happy, you can be grateful, but if you are generous, you're going to be blocking the whole cycle and more money coming to you. And one reason for this is because it attracts opportunities, right? You could be the same person, go do the same job, or different people go to the same job, do the same thing, whatever, and have totally different experiences. Or I know I'm the same person and I've had a different experience of my day or my life depending on my mood or how I'm feeling or what's going on or how I'm thinking about things, right? And so it's important to know that because you're attracting things constantly. And so if you're in an open heart, if you are being generous, if you're giving, if you're looking for the good in people, you're going to attract more good to you. You're going to attract opportunities. You're going to see the opportunities. There's so many times, like even I missed out on an opportunity because I didn't see it. I missed out on so many. You probably have too. You're like, when am I going to have an opportunity? They're all around if we're willing to look or if we're willing to be, right? We need to be what we want to attract. So if you're not being that, you got to work on that so that you can attract that. And then you have to open your eyes to see the opportunities that are all around because they are truly. Now, a practical story, Lewis talks about a ton of different stories in here, but one with this generosity seed is Tony Robbins. And he saw a boy, he was young, and was taking his mom into a diner somewhere to eat. And Tony was like, "Oh, you're treating your mom to dinner." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And Tony said, "Yes, you are," and gave the boy money. And so that was so powerful, so cool. He felt good about himself. But then he went home and found something in the mail a couple days later with money that someone owed him. And so it's so interesting how it's all connected, the universe, God, karma, all that stuff. But it really is, even picking up trash, doing the right thing. The more good you do, the more good you put out, you'll get it back. Trust me. So have that faith, have that abundance. I know it's hard, especially if you don't have a lot of money, but it's good to start that seed and plant that seed now, because then when you do get more opportunities, you won't be stuck. You will be more abundant and generous, which will lead to more. Lastly, I want to talk about this service and value. So rich people, they provide a lot of value, right? They provide value to the market. This is something I've talked about a lot and that I've learned. And so it doesn't mean that depending on your job or what you do, that you're not a valuable person. I believe we're all children of God and we all have value just because we're human beings. But the market rewards certain value, right? And if you could solve a big problem for someone, if you could find a better solution for someone, you're going to get paid for that, which is great. I think that's a great thing. And that's how our economy works. And I think that's beautiful. But you need to know that the more you serve, the more you give, the more generous you are with your money, time, information, solutions, etc., expertise, you're going to attract more. The more value and service, the more value you provide, then more opportunities will come and you'll be happier. So even if an opportunity doesn't come out of serving or giving or being generous, you're going to be a better person. You're going to feel a lot better by doing so. But typically what will happen is the more value, like you create that reputation that you're a person of value. You create value. You're a helper. You're a giver. You're not a taker. And you're just this really skilled person that can help someone in this way. And so the world rewards helpers. The world rewards people who serve, the people who give, people who provide that value. And so how can you be a person of value? How can you learn more? And I have my book coming out. I talk about this and I talk about how to be a high value person, what a high value person is, what how can you create value? How can you do those things? And I think that is just one key piece of the puzzle that is so important. A lot of wealthy people talk about the S&P and me instead of the S&P 500. I'm a huge advocate for investing in the stock market, but I also know, and from reading more along the way, is that it's important to invest in yourself. If you just invest a little bit of money into the stock market, but you never invest into your skills, your education, so you can be more valuable, you can create more value or be rewarded more in the market, then you're going to be keeping yourself stuck. You're going to be capping yourself. Yes, investing is important and maybe you can invest a little bit, but make sure you're investing in those skills, the education, knowledge, because that's going to make you more money. And then you're going to have more money to invest in the stock market or other assets as well. But bet on yourself. Life is too short to just go through the motions. If you feel called to create more, to go make more, to build a vision and bring something to life, you're meant to do it. And I'm happy to support you. So if you want to follow along, feel free to do so. Feel free to check out this video on how I'm going to be a millionaire as a teacher, or this video on 10 skills I learned that's making me a young millionaire. I hope it helps.